Welcome back to Women's World. Joining us today via Zoom is a passionate advocate for youth and community development. Dr. Tina Orode King is the founder of and CEO of Kiajer Youth Empowerment Initiative, a youth-led organization dedicated to community and human development. Through her work, she has empowered women across Abuja, Kuje, Buhari, Nasarawa, and Niger State with entrepreneurship and agricultural training, while also championing the cause of out-of-school children, ensuring that young girls are not left vulnerable on the street, but are given access to education and opportunity. Let's welcome Dr. Tina Orode King. Welcome to Women's World. Dr. Tina, can you hear me?
Thank you. Thank you. I can hear you. Can you hear me? I can hear you.
Thank you very much for joining us, ma'am.
Thank you very much for joining us, ma'am.
Well, Dr. Tina, it's good to have you on this special edition of the program. Let's quickly jump on this conversation. When we talk about harassment in schools and workplaces, many people think of general misconduct. But from your experience, how prevalent is sexual harassment, specifically among young girls and women, from what you do so far?
Thank you very much for that question. I appreciate it, and thank you for having me on your program, Women's World, this evening. Yes, girls have been vulnerable, I think, right from immemorial. Sexual harassment is a big deal, and it's something we don't take for granted. It's something we cannot shove under the carpet. So I am very grateful that you women are bringing this, to the forefront as a form of discussion this afternoon. Sexual harassment thrives only where there is silence, only where people are weak and the systems is weak. Schools and workplaces must have anti-harassment policies to guide our girls, our youth, our women, even some young boys. Boys are vulnerable as well. I recently even heard a situation that was brought to my organization attention of a young man who was sexually abused recently, and so this is it's prevalent. It's prevalent. So it's something we cannot undermine. So the objective is to actually make people aware, such as going to schools, allowing our students to know more about educate them, enlighten them about what sexual harassment is and how they can speak up. Even sometimes they are not believed, but they must speak up. If one person don't believe you, go to the next. Your school teacher or school principal don't believe you, go to your parents. Your parents don't believe you, look for a neighbor, talk about it. Expose evil. When evil is exposed, it brings about healing as well. That's a dangerous and inhumane young boy.
I'll ask this follow-up question. In many cases, harassment is tied to power, say teachers, lecturers, employers, or supervisors. How does this power imbalance make young girls and women more vulnerable? I want to speak from the standpoint of women, because in as much as we know that there are young men that are being, harassed, but I feel like it's more prevalent with, women. When we talk about harassment, I'm not trying to be biased in any way, but most times you see men being hailed. A man is a victim, but his friends are hailing him. You understand? Somehow they don't go through the torture or the pain. I'm not saying that it is less of, an evil activity for them, but the reality of the situation is that some men are being hailed when they go through this circumstance, right? Their men call their fellow, their colleagues, their friends want to, even when they're harassed by their bosses in places of work, their friends, their colleagues see it as an achievement. But on the other hand, for the woman, that's the reality. For the woman, it's a thing of shame, a thing of, the fact that her hands are tied, she really cannot fight back, she cannot do anything, and somehow she's placed as a bigger victim in that sense. So how can we address issues like this? There is definitely an imbalance, if you ask me. There is definitely an imbalance, and how do we address it?
I agree. I agree. No, I agree. Thank you very much for at least paying attention more to the women. I agree that there is definitely imbalance, and girls and women go through situations like this more. It is more prevalent in that sense. If we want to really, face up with it, as you have said, women women have lived a life of imbalance from a long time. Girls have lived a life of imbalance for a long time. I'm glad that women are even getting their voices, and they're actually speaking up. And where they are not able to speak up, you have platform like yours that is actually addressing and discussing this issue. Because the more we also discuss it in the public arena, the better we are exposing this demeaning behavior of women and girls. So going to your question, I think awareness is key. Continuing bringing awareness to the situation among women, whether in the marketplace, whether it's in the school, whether it's at work. I've bosses sometimes, they do it to their female colleagues and do get away with it. In this institution, tertiary institutions, and the male actually, they do it to the female girls in order to give them higher grades. So it's like, there is corruption here, corruption there, corruption in the education system. And then now we want to use our girls and our women for prostitution, in order for them to gain favor from you as a female, as a male counterpart. So it is best for our women to be educated, young or mid-age, to be educated, enlightened, properly enlightened about how to stand your ground. Do not allow a man to exchange sex for grades with you. Do not allow a man to exchange money for sex with you. You are more than that. You are better than that. We understand that at times we always also have to look at the root causes of why some of these girls fall vulnerable to this kind of situations. If they are firm, or they have a strong foundation and have that confidence about themselves and know who they are, they will not permit themselves to fall prey to such a useless attitude coming from their male counterpart. So, I'm very straightforward when it comes to oppression in any form, whether it's sexual, whether it's financial, whether it's job. When it comes to oppressing the female, I am a bold advocate to that effect. So, sexual harassment is one thing I and my organization does not tolerate. We cannot afford to allow our girls to continue to be marginalized, abused, used, and then in most times discarded. And I believe people read the news, you read newspapers, you're on the internet. You've seen where sexually harassed women or girls commit suicide because of the pain and the stigma that comes along with it. So it is important for advocacy to be more effective and efficient. Let's advocate, let's continue to also educate our girls. Whatever is the root cause that causes them to fall vulnerable to such situations, let's address it. Let's speak to our men and let them know that they have mothers, they have sisters, they have daughters, that when they see a female going through a situation like this, they must speak up, because that could be their mother, that could be their sister, that could be their daughter. So it's imperative It's imperative. It's not it's not a one-person issue. It's not only an NGO's issue to address. It's a community. It has to be an advocacy from the community, from the grassroots. Tell when you see something, even if you suspect something, say it to somebody and let someone take the initiative to carry out an investigation to confirm if your story aligns. But never be silent because you believe they won't believe me, or I witnessed it, they were doing it to one girl, but they will not believe me if I say something. No. You must say something. Be your sister's keeper, be your brother's keeper at all times.
That you talk about education and you talk about women speaking out. Your organization works closely with out-of-school children and vulnerable communities. How does lack of education or expose increase the risk of harassment, especially sexual exploitation? Because if you look at this thing critically, most of these men that are involved in this criminal acts, let me put it that way, most of them could be a family friend. They could be a very close friend that you don't even expect this from, and which will give you that I don't know how to put it.
The silences.
The silence. You won't be able to speak up. You won't be able to talk. You'll be thinking of, okay, if I speak up, what would these people? What would people talk about me?
You're scared of ruining relationships.
You're scared of ruining relationship. You're scared of losing so many things. So how do you, as in
what's the advocacy
exactly,
or what's the mechanism you put out for the out-of-school children to escape the vulnerability to all of these opportunities that they see as privileges but are trapped through harassment in the different forms that comes to them?
Thank you for that question. That's deep. I believe nobody can be locked up in their house 24/7, that you don't have access to the outside world at all, except that person is really evil, so they're perpetuating that evil in an extreme way. But no girl or any woman can be locked up in the home, restricted from going nowhere. You must have a time that you step out of your door, in that house, out of that house that you have been abused by a close relative of yours. So it has to be an opportunity. There has to be an opportunity at one point that woman steps out, talk to somebody, even if it's a nearby store, a nearby shop. Talk to somebody. Your life depends on it. Your life depends on it. And a mechanism that we as an organization is to make ourselves out, put ourselves out in the public domain. Like now, if somebody's watching your show, or a young girl watching your show and hearing us, I will tell them right now, please call Kiajer Youth Empowerment Initiative. Don't disclose your name. Be anonymous. Call us. Talk to us. And we will take it from there. So a girl like that, or a woman like that has been in that situation, in that home, and being abused privately and secretly within the confine of that home, please find a way out. I know that it is impossible for someone. You may have been going through it for such a long time, but we cannot come into your home. We cannot come into your house. We don't know what is going on behind closed doors. So we cannot reach out to you in any way except through television, radio, internet. Those are the places that we can reach out and say, women, girls, please, I beg you. They are actually the mechanism that we can use to bring about the help. They are the tools we can use to bring about the help. We need their voice. Their voice is the tool we need. If you can get out there and tell somebody, let somebody know, and let that person, let the authority know, let an NGO such as ours to know, we will take it from there. That's basically how you can handle mainly a woman who is within the confine of the home and being abused by a relative or a close friend.
So far, Doc, let's boil it down to harassment around the work environment, because basically that's where we are today, and I want to look at how how it shows up in the professional environment, the harassment itself, even at the workplaces, and even in ways that seem normalized, because like we see everyday co-workers, colleagues, both the senior and the junior get to relate friendly in a friendly atmosphere. Before you know it, the professionalism plays down and it becomes more of a harassment, and the lady gets victimized, she can speak up, or the man in question gets victimized, he can't speak up. How does victim blaming affect reporting and getting justice in this process? Because of course it became a familiarity. The friendship, the cordiality in relating turns into something of vulnerability, where one is now a victim and the other one victim becomes the upper hand, who stands stronger than the other person who is victimized.
Thank you. Yes, accountability is key, and accountability has to start with the individual, the female counterpart. You have to set a boundary. You have to set a boundary. You may be my colleague, my friend, we talk and chat a lot at work, but there has to be a boundaries that we set, that there are certain limits of touch that you cannot cross. Guys, they have a tendency of doing that. One day they will like your hair, they will touch it. I like this dress. They will, fling it. One thing or the other, it keeps getting, and then you will be thinking that, oh, it's a compliment. You should know when compliment, should stop, or what, the limit of a compliment. Compliment is good. It boosts our morals. However, there's got to be some boundaries, some limits set to that. So if your colleague is going somewhere else, you should have enough wisdom, enough sense, or discernment to know that you have crossed the line. Don't touch me like that. I don't like it. We are friends. You're my body. I like you. We are friends. But please don't touch me like this. Say it in a very nice and cordial way. If it happens again, if he doesn't apologize, because if it's something that he did and would, without the wrong intentions, he will apologize. Oh, I'm sorry that I did that. I'm sorry. Or sometimes he may even just be doing it to see how much you enjoy it. And then it keeps increasing. So if you do not enjoy it, you have to make it known. I don't like this. Please stop. And then talk to another girlfriend about it. I don't like the way this male colleague keep touching me. You get home, talk to your family member. And I told him not to do it. He keeps repeating it. I don't like it. And it could be your even bigger boss, even maybe the owner of the company. I know your income is good. It is helping your financial obligations. However, your mental health comes first, because you cannot work comfortably under that kind of situation where you are being molested sexually. It's not healthy for anybody. If you don't like it, you don't welcome it, they will back off. And if you tell that your boss or the overhead boss, I don't like this, please, sir, don't do it to me, please, sir. If he doesn't listen, take it up. Your voice is your power. Don't let nobody take that from you. The voice is your power. As I'm talking, I believe I'm talking to a girl or a woman out there. That's why I use the verb your, you, and your. So it's up to that girl, that woman, to speak up and use her voice. No matter if it's going to cause you to lose your job, so be it. You'll get another one. But at least you are very sane. You're
Yes,
not
people
allowing
fall
somebody
victim
to
and
cause
not
you
use
to
their
go
senses
insane.
or their heads in articulating and drawing the lines and setting boundaries to all of this. This is one thing that has kept a lot of women at the standpoint, because they feel I need to bring something to the table for my family to also have to show my value addition to the family, be it a girl child, be it a boy child, so just wants to make ends meet. So I think understanding those boundaries being set or doing the right thing for one's sanity, like you mentioned, your mental health is one thing to look out for. If you see what is not okay for, just like doctor is saying right now, your immediate environment might not look convenient or comfortable with certain things. For the fact that you want to make ends meet doesn't mean you should kill your self-esteem
Exactly.
just to get the financial support you need to stand.
I think all of this makes sense to someone that has a moral conscience. There are people that have sold
So
their
that's one of the things we're
consciences
seeing today.
basically for, to please society, to meet up with whatever is trending, to use the latest phones, use the latest.
But that's societal pressure coming in for them to get what they want to get.
Exactly. And sometimes the economic state of the country is really a concern. I was going to ask her how parents can best support their children, because sometimes you're out of school and some parents don't know that these things are gradual. The pressure starts to hit on you. You are expected to start to support just after finishing. So the parents that don't understand transition, you're done with NYSC, they should know that you should there's a phase, and a phase for job hunting, and the support that they should give you should help you. But a situation where you don't have the support from home, they don't even understand. Sometimes they don't want to put this pressure, but they don't understand the reality of what you're going through. They start to mount pressure on you. I remember when I can't relate to such, but I had finished I had finished my NYSC then, and I was looking for a job. I went to this guy, and the first thing he said to me is, "Come to my house." I was already working. I was already there. I mean, maybe freelancing. And then I said, "Please, I need a job." And he's saying, "Come to my house." And the other colleagues are saying, his friend is saying, "You have to do this." So you understand, the pressure was so. But I had to look beyond all of that and say, "I'm not interested." I mean, it took a lot of courage. It took me saying, "Okay, I'll go and start out. I don't mind not having this job. I'll go and look somewhere else." But can everyone do that? I mean, if I had parents that were mounting pressure, how far? When I send your own contribution, I'll send you to school. When will you bring your own? Do you understand?
So
all those things can be a reality for some people out there, especially for ladies, again I say, because most times they are the victims. So how can parents best support their children, their daughters especially, through this whole phase of job seeking, trying to gain financial independence and all of that?
Thank you very much for that question. And women support women, so it applies to the mother of the home, to her young daughter. You support your daughter by first and foremost, not just financially, you support her by giving her the right tool, the right education, self-education. Daughter, I love you, and you must love yourself as well. I don't want anything to happen to you while you are out there in the world. You will come across men who want to give you things for sex. Make sure you build that environment of, you can trust me to come talk to me when you experience such a thing. Make sure that mother to that daughter, that is the first gift you can give to that girl. Build that culture within the house that opens up the mind of your daughter, whether she has money or the mother has money or not. Let her know, equip her that you are still powerful. Because you don't have money, or I don't have money to help you right now, doesn't mean you are the least of them all. Your voice is still your power. So build that culture within the house. So if you are that woman who knows right from wrong, you can equip your daughter in that form. that tells me that you already know, you are already a woman who will not fall for such and pray for a man to give you money for something that you do not want. So for that reason, there are single mothers out there. I'm speaking to single mothers now. There are single mothers out there who may not even have the resources to help their daughters. They may feel like this is the only way I can help my daughter, and your daughter is seeing that. Your daughter is witnessing what you are doing in order to help her. So in other words, you are passing a legacy to that daughter if you are not doing the right thing to help her. If you are going to be, allowing yourself to be oppressed at work or allowing yourself to be sold in exchange for sex, then that is what you are also teaching that daughter. So the best thing for that mother, do a little trade. Do a little trade. Look for, as an NGO, we equip and empower women, and by giving them the right tools they need to start something small for themselves, to help their little family. We do that to single women. We do that to vulnerable women in society. So look for a way to reach out, get help, but don't allow someone to take your dignity, your joy, your sound mind. Don't allow someone or anyone to rob you of that, because your daughter is watching and she will continue that legacy. So, and as a result, we are creating a society of vulnerable women from one generation to the other, and that must stop. We can't afford that.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tina King. We really wish you could stay with us, but time is not our friend. We see the work you're doing. We appreciate this. Well, this conversation reminds us that harassment is not just an issue. It is a reality many women and girls live with silently. And when we speak about accountability, we are not just asking questions, we're demanding responsibility to get out of it.
What stands out for me is the importance of awareness and support. I like the fact that you're practical about the support. Now, when victims are heard, believed, and protected, we begin to break the cycle of silence and fear.
And we must also recognize that prevention starts with us, families, communities, institutions. Creating space is not optional, it is necessary.